Hello, everybody. This is going to be an episode regarding the sound test of the DT1770s. This is the second sound test I've ever done on my channel. The first one was for the AudioQuest Nighthawk. And since then, I've had a lot of time to think about what I want to point out in these test songs that I have. Now, the test song playlist that I have has also expanded. I have downloaded the songs now instead of just streaming them. And I should have downloaded the songs before too, but I liked the sound of the Nighthawk anyway, so that's not really much of a concern. I am using the velour pads with the DT1770. My video from yesterday demonstrated how to take the pleather pads off and put the velour pads on. The difference, I need to point this out before I start. The difference between the velour and the pleather is that the pleather is a little bit better on sound isolation, outside noise, but the velour is overall more comfortable. It breathes more and actually adds a little bit more airiness in the vocals and in fact throughout the entire tonality of a song. So if you want a little bit more width in a song, you want to hear a little bit more of the instruments and the breathing of a song. I mean, these are all audiophile terms, I understand, but when we go through the test playlist, I'll be able to point out the things that I'm hearing, and that's really the point. You have to take my tests, my audio tests, by also participating. So you can participate along with me, or you can participate afterwards, because that's the only real way that you will be able to tell whether you hear something from your current setup or you don't hear something from your current setup that I am hearing or not hearing on my headphone that I'm reviewing. So, for example, on the DT1770, as I go through the songs, I'll tell you the things that really stand out to me and how the song is being portrayed to my ears. And then what you can do is you can put in your headphones, your earphones, your speakers, and listen to the same song and then decide whether you can hear the things that I'm hearing. And if you can, then really what it comes down to is a decision, well, do I really need to upgrade my setup? Do I really need to get these particular headphones? Are they really an improvement over what I have right now? Should I look for something else? That's the best way I can think of online to give you a sound test. Okay, without further ado, we're 3 minutes in. Let's just start. I have my test playlist. I have my DT1770s plugged into my JDS Labs Element DAC amp. This is an extremely clean DAC amp, meaning there's little, if any, distortion that comes through the volume. Now, the one thing I have to point out, the DT1770s, I have to take the volume knob on my amp, the JDS Labs, almost to max out the 1770. So the 1770s I'm using are 250 ohms using the Element DAC amp from JDS Labs. I'm really pushing the DAC amp to drive these headphones, but this is a clean DAC amp. It's not going to distort the sound in any measurable way for my ears. So that's what I'm going to use. Okay, here we go. The first song we're going to do is Mountains. We're going to play. Okay, hold on. I have my line out instead of my JDS Labs Element out, so we'll start again. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. Mountains starting now. And I have the volume at noon on the Element DAC amp. There's a slow build up to this song. The central part of the song really is the organ. That doesn't come in until about halfway through the song. Everything else up until about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, no, sooner than that, probably about 2 minutes, is build up. And it starts soft and it gets more pronounced until that build up is complete. You get the organ coming in strong. And at noon, it's kind of like silent, so I'm going to take it up a little bit more. It's about at 2 o'clock now on the Element DAC amp. 3 o'clock now. So what I hear is there's a bit of bass in this song that starts out from the strings.
Sorry, I don't understand.
And there's some percussion that doesn't really come across with the 1770s. There's a bit of reverberation, however, with the drums. Not much. And now, here's a crescendo. We're halfway into the song now. Here comes the organ. That was good. So all the and I'm taking this back down to noon. All the instruments come in right about at this point, and they could fall apart on lesser headphones. I could still hear some separation amongst all the instruments. The organ is pretty good. It's well defined, but it's not detailed. So at noon, it's not a quiet song on these headphones, but it's not very loud. At 3 o'clock, it gets fairly loud. But then the song also starts breaking up. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of detail that I'm getting from these headphones on this song. Yeah, the sub bass is just falling apart. So right about 3 minutes 15 seconds, there's a lot of vocals that come in, like operatic vocals with the organ and the other instruments. And with better headphones, you can actually tell the difference. Like, you can hear the vocals, you can hear the organ, you can hear the other instruments. They're well separated. With the 1770s, not so much. And that's part of, that's a big concern for me, because in order to enjoy a song like Mountains, you need to have a pair of headphones that is capable of not just width, but also has the ability to give you detail. Now, detail not just in a particular instrument, just in one, but detail all across the instruments and the vocals as they're being presented to you. However, my experience with Mountains as of right now with these headphones is when all the instruments, the vocals come in, the headphone just falls apart. I don't get much detail. There is detail there. I mean, it's still a pleasurable listen to that song, but it's not something I would use to master, right? So if I was sitting there and Hans Zimmer said, "I want you to listen to the song that I just composed," excuse me, I just want you to listen to the song that I composed, and I want you to tell me what you hear. This is not the pair of headphones that he should give me to do that. Because things get muddy very quickly once there's more than 2 or 3 elements of that piece, as in Mountains. So as far as Mountains is concerned, the 1770s, not particularly good. Now, if you listen to Mountains and you understand what type of song that is, and if you listen to that type of song regularly, you may have some reservations. I would have some reservations recommending this pair of headphones for songs such as Mountains. Let's go to the next one. Want You Back by Haim. This has guitars. It has a lot of vocals. There's 3 women who are singing. Beautiful voices, all 3 of them. And the idea here is that the vocals have to be more present than the instruments. This is going to be in contrast to one of the other songs that we're going to do, which is Heartbreak by Chris Serro. Now, Heartbreak by Chris Serro, the instruments are more present than the vocals. But in this song, Want You Back, the vocals should come through clear, precise, and indeed, the vocals should be all throughout the range. They shouldn't be mudded. Now, if I hear the vocals being distorted in any way, that's a bad sign. So, okay, here we go. It's at 3 o'clock. Vocals are really good. So the primary singer comes in crystal clear at 3 o'clock, which is near max volume for these headphones. Guitar is strong. There's a drum that has some impact right about here. It's not distorting the song, but there's not real impact to that drum. Yeah, so the drum that comes in around 45 seconds into the song is muted, right? There's no impact at all. I know it's there, it just doesn't make much emphasis, and it's supposed to. I have no faults to point out regarding the vocalist here, around 1 minute and 10 seconds. Crystal clear vocal, undistorted. The guitar strings are just really nice. They're tight, precise. So the problem I'm having right now is that all the instruments are in and all the singers are singing, all three women. And there's no differentiation amongst the three vocalists. So one of the singers comes in right about now, about 2 minutes in, with a higher tenor than the others, higher tone, whatever you call it. Undistorted, it's clear, no sibilance, it's easy on the ears. Very nice. So there are several drum hits right about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Again, no impact. So there's clapping in the background right here. You can hear the clapping, but it doesn't really add anything to the song on these headphones. Meaning it's muted, suppressed. I think there's a piano in this song, and when it's by itself, it's well defined. Okay, so here's the end of the song. So here's what I found. When it's a singular vocalist, when just one of the women, the primary singer in this song, is singing, it's great. Her voice is crisp. It's very pleasurable. There's no sibilance. It's easy to listen to. There's no distortion. When all three are singing at the same time, I can't tell. I can't tell who's who. And their vocals kind of overlap each other. Now, of course, their vocals are overlapping because they're singing together. But in other headphones that I've tried, so for example, with the Nighthawk, yes, they overlap, but it doesn't really get muddy. With the 1770s, it becomes muddy for some strange reason. Now, the difference here is that, one of the differences, is that the Nighthawk are 25 ohm, and the 1770s are 250 ohm. I don't think that the power requirement really changes anything with how the song is represented, because I have an amp that's plenty powerful enough to drive these headphones. multiple vocalists coming in with multiple instruments playing. Again, the same problem that I had with Mountains. It just starts falling apart. Now, it's not like it's a terrible headphone. I can hear everything. There's just no emphasis on any particular thing anymore, right? The vocals, when they're all combined, they're just combined. Even though the tenor, the pitch, the frequency of each singer is slightly different, because they are, in fact, slightly different. In this pair of headphones, I can't tell the differentiation when they're all singing together. In other headphones, for example, with the Sendy Avas, I can tell a difference between amongst all three singers when they're together. The 1770s, not so much. Third problem, fourth problem, whatever the problem number I'm on, there's no bass. These are closed back, but there's no impact to the bass. This is very flat bass response so far. Now, this hasn't been a heavy bass song. So Mountains, Want You Back, not heavy bassed, or bass heavy, excuse me, not bass heavy. Angel by Massive Attack is, which is next. Let's do that. And by the way, throughout this entire listening section, I'll be fluctuating between 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock on the amp based on what I want to listen to and how I want to communicate, if I want to communicate. So this song starts off with a low rumble, and it comes out really well. Single drum or bass instrument, whatever this is, well defined. There's a good soundstage, because now what I heard was a cymbal or something all the way to the back left of my ear. That was really neat, because I haven't heard that on the Nighthawk. So presence is very, very good. There's like a slight whine on the left around 40 seconds. I didn't hear it in the Nighthawk at all. In this, I heard it. Vocals are in. Single vocalist. Crisp, clear. There's one or two instruments in the background. And here comes some sort of string or electronic instrument. Guitar. Bass drum, nice, tight. I'm going to take it all the way to about, now I'm at max on my amp. With just one or two bass instruments, there's definition. There's not much impact. So maxed out on JDS Labs Element, this is pretty loud. For long listening sessions, you could go deaf, but there's not an impact. There's not, there's a robustness to the bass. It sounds pretty flat to me. Even though I know it's there and it's detailed, it still doesn't have the impact that I want. There's a little bit of reverberation within the ear cups, which is good. That means that the sound waves are continuing inside and bouncing inside, but not a whole lot. All the instruments are in now, and it gets a little muddy. Guitars are not well defined. So I hear maybe 3 different guitar instruments or string instruments, and there's not much definition when they're all playing. What I can hear is where each instrument is. So one of the guitars is all the way to the back right, and it's in the back right. One is directly to the left, and it's in the left. But when everything is together, it's just muddy. So what happens at the end of the song is that there's a rumbling bass that just dies. So just as there's a rumbling bass that starts the song, it also ends with that. And when it's just that one little bass instrument, whatever it is, it comes out very well defined. It's tight. Good impact at this point. Precise. So this is another consistency that I'm seeing. When there's a lot of stuff going on, headphones simply can't keep up. They can't give you the definition amongst all the different things. When it's just one instrument, it's very tight, it's very defined, it's very clear. When there's one vocalist, the same thing. When you start adding elements into a song, it gets muddy. And by muddy, I mean it's it's almost like there's a veil over the song, over this music. Like you're hearing it through a cloth. It's not that, it sounds worse than it actually is, but I've heard it better in other headphones. I've heard it better on the LCDs. I've heard it better on the Sandievas. I've definitely heard it better on the Fostex TH900, but, those are substantially more expensive, 3 times the price. It's better so far. It's better than, say, the Sony Z7s. The Z7s are much more laid back. They're much more relaxed. They're meant to be more warm and comforting. The 1770s are not warm and comfy headphones. They're also not precise headphones. Well, that's not true. They are precise headphones, but they're just not analytical headphones. Now, you might say, well, the pads you have on are not analytical. That may be. I have no idea, because I said yesterday in my other video, I don't know what pad is what. This just happens to be the one that actually fits and is comfortable. So go with it. And by the way, the difference between the two pads, because I swapped them, and before I swapped them, I listened afterwards. There is a difference. It's just not significant enough. I can hear it. It's just, it's not a wow factor change. All right, let's go to the next one. Heartbreak by Chris Serro. Piano is good, smooth. The vocal is present, not overbearing. And the string instrument, it's good. And there's that guitar buildup in the back that I did not hear before in the Nighthawk. There's one bass instrument, a drum, that comes in precise, accurate, no impact. Here comes a big part. So the vocals come in, when all the instruments come in here, vocals are destroyed. Can't hear anything what these singers are saying. Now I have to say that when the bass hits right around probably minute 1 into the music, it's good. The other instruments are overpowered by the bass, so they become a little muddy, and I can't hear anything. Well, I can hear the vocals, I just don't understand what the vocals are saying. When the vocals are by themselves or with only 1 or 2 instruments in the background, like right now, I do know what they're saying. Vocals are not pronounced because they're not supposed to be pronounced in this song. It stays somewhere in the middle of the field. Yeah, but with that guitar instrument or electric guitar, whatever that is, with the vocals, it just overpowers the vocals, and I can't understand what they're saying. Again, piano is good. Vocals by themselves, very precise. With the electric guitar by itself, very good. Precise. No muddiness. When all the other instruments start coming in, right about now, kind of a, right about 3 minutes, 20 seconds when everything is in. There's a loss of definition again. There's no part of the song that actually jumps out at me and grabs my attention. The drum and the guitar right here, just those two together, it's really nice. Guitar is defined, the bass, the drum, precise. Again, no real impact. Okay, so that was the 4th song, and here's what I'm seeing. When there's more than one instrument and vocalist, when there's a lot of elements in the song all together, what seems to happen is that these headphones, they don't differentiate. So if you're looking at a stage, right? Let's pretend you're looking at a stage, at a play. There's depth to that stage. So actors can be closer to the edge of the stage, they can be in the middle of the stage, they can be in the back of the stage, they can be left, they can be right. So that's the stage, you're looking at it. Now pretend that that's what the sound is supposed to be, right? You have vocalists, you have instruments of all various types, and they're placed differently along and on top of the stage. Very, very good headphones will be able to display where those instruments and the vocalists are on the stage better than others. So, for example, in the 1770s, when everything comes in, when everything is on the stage, and I'm looking at it, it's not as if I can see that the guitar is back stage right, and the vocalist is center stage, and the piano is stage left. It's not like that at all. It seems as if everything is just mid-stage. Like they're all lined up in the middle of the stage. That's the best way I can describe it. And it was like that with the song before that, the one before that, and the one before that. When you have multiple instruments, when you have a lot of vocalists, more than one, then everything just kind of is there. And I can't tell where everything is supposed to be. If there's one or two or three instruments, and they're all taking turns coming in, then I can tell where they are positioned on stage. But when they're all playing at the same time, it's not possible for me to tell. Let's go to Scherzo for X-Wings by John Williams. Now, this is a orchestral song, so there's going to be a lot of instruments being played at the same time. So let's see what happens with this one. The horns come in. There's a lot of instruments that just start off the song. And the horns are more pronounced. When the drums come in, again, I know they're there, just not very impactful. Not that it really is supposed to be impactful in this song. So there is differentiation of where the instruments are. So with orchestral music, you have clusters of instruments where the conductor wants them. So I know that the horns are on the right, the brass is on the left. So there is in fact soundstage with respect to clusters of instruments. My concern, what I see here, is that a lot of instruments are playing. I don't know what they all are, but nothing really sets itself apart from the rest. Some are louder than the others, but none are more defined than the other. There's no one cluster of instruments or an instrument that is more detailed than any of the others. So here's what I mean by detail. Hearing the plucking of guitar strings. When you take your finger off the guitar string, there's, you can hear the twang, or you can hear the breathing of the vocalist just as they inhale in order to start singing again. That's detail. That's you picking up on the nuances. I'm not, none of that happened in the song because it's not supposed to, but I'm not hearing any real detail amongst all the instruments. The horns come out louder than the others. Now, is that because they were playing harder than the others? Or is that because the headphone favors that frequency over the other frequencies? I don't know, but it's just louder. It's not more detailed. I'm not picking up anything that I would go, oh wow, I didn't hear that before. I'm just saying, okay, so that part is just louder in the song than the other stuff. Not fantastic. I mean, I've heard the song many times. It's been much more fun on other headphones. Not particularly fun on this headphone. I know it's a song, and it's fine to listen to. There's no sibilance, there's no peaking, but it's not something I would listen to for fun. Okay, let's go to When You Walk Into the Room, Vic and Gab. Starts off with the guitar and drum. Guitar is great. I mean, it just sounds very, very good. Detailed. And the vocals are coming. One vocalist. Beautiful voice. No sibilants. So what I can tell is that there's a vocalist, there's a drum, and then there's an electric guitar. They're well separated. And now there's another instrument in the background somewhere. I don't know what it is, but it's not affecting the vocals to my ears. Vocal is the primary, I guess, instrument in this song, and I can feel that. So when she goes into a solo with just the guitar coming in regularly, the drum just playing in the back, light hits, it's really nice. Nothing is overpowering any other portion of the song. It sounds pleasant. At higher volume, around 3 o'clock, there's detail, just not a tremendous amount of detail. It just, I can't hear her breathing. I can't hear anything that I haven't heard before in other headphones. But all the good thing about this pair of headphones so far is that my ears are not bleeding. So the higher frequency is very well controlled in all of the songs. And this is my favorite part of the song, where she doesn't sing anything, it's just the instruments. And she comes in to kind of add to the song a little. And it's just this great rhythm. It's not very clinical, but it's just more clinical on these headphones than it was on the Nighthawk. Obviously. Very different type of headphones. But it's still fun to listen to on this headphone. Okay, now she's singing Let's Dance, Let's Just Dance. And when she says the word dance, the end of that word, the CE, dance, there's a bit, just a tiny bit of sibilance, just a tiny, tiny bit. In worse headphones, that sibilance would pierce my ear and I would freak out. In this one, it is really tightly controlled. So it's like the headphone is just cramming that higher frequency down, right? It's like you're going to stay down. You're not going to get any higher. And it does a very, very good job because at the higher volume, about 3 o'clock, I can hear it. It's just, I can hear it. And it's just about a breath away from becoming too much for me. So well done with respect to controlling that potential sibilance. Overall, so far, this song has done the best, in my personal opinion. This song has done the best on these headphones. One of the reasons is there's not a lot of instrument. There are 3 or 4 instruments that I can tell. There's one vocalist. The second one kind of just backs her up. there's not much complexity to the song compared to, say, John Williams, compared to Heartbreak, compared to Angel, compared to Mountains. Want You Back also was not particularly complex, but I feel as if between Want You Back and When You Walk Into the Room, When You Walk Into the Room sounds better overall. Still lacking in finite detail, meaning not everything is in focus in the song. When we go back to the whole sound stage or the stage, the play stage analogy, I don't know if this song was created, was mastered to really exhibit soundstage in that way. And so I couldn't really hear it. I heard it in other songs previous. I'm assuming that it just wasn't mastered on this song to show much soundstage. So I'm not going to hold that against the headphones. Let's go to Dreamer by Charlie XCX. Dreamer, vocal and bass. It comes in with it should be sharp drums and vocals in about a second or two. Or 5 seconds. So there's some sort of bass instrument in the back, some electric mojo going on, and vocal. Her vocal isn't defined. It's really muddy, not particularly detailed. The bass on the song, it's supposed to reverberate. It's supposed to give you, this feeling that the ear cups are shaking, and the ear cups are not shaking. Bass response is pretty flat. The singer comes in fine. No sibilants. The higher registers are well controlled. Kind of the problem with this song is that it's supposed to make you bob your head with the vocal and especially the bass. And I'm not bobbing my head. I'm shaking my head. Because I've heard this song in headphones that do have that pronounced bass reverberation. Even if the ear cups don't shake, there's reverberation inside the ear cups, and there's not much reverberation. And the vocal also comes out pretty clinical. It's just there. There's no warmth to it. There's no musicality to it. And by musicality, I mean, there's not... How should I describe this? Her voice is not pleasant in this song. Now, that could just be she doesn't have a pleasant voice. But if I give you the example of the AudioQuest Nighthawk, it comes out warmer, more playful. In this headphone, the voice is just there. She's singing. That's nice, but it doesn't evoke any warmth in you. So when you combine that, like a very clean sound from her vocal, you combine that with the fact that there's no reverberation in the bass, there's no real appeal to the song. It's like you're being forced to just sit there and go through the motions of listening to it. This song is not particularly enjoyable. The song doesn't really fall apart in this headphone, but nothing stands out. So if I go back to my play stage analogy. When a lot of stuff is going on, everything just kind of stands in the center of the stage and there's no differentiation. And that's, unfortunate, because these headphones are marketed as headphones that are supposed to be used for mastering. And if you can't, if there's no depth to the song, that's a problem. But then on the other hand, if the song is not mastered to have depth, then it's not the fault of the headphone. And so far, I haven't heard one song out of all of these that demonstrates depth. Front, middle, back, left, right, the entire spectrum. When singular or dual instruments or vocalists are in, then it's there. But when it's multiple, everything just kind of falls in line together, and it's not fun. Okay, Superstition by Young the Giant. I think I just added this one since my last audio test. And this song starts off with, this song is supposed to be really fun. It starts off with bass, and it goes into guitar, and then it goes into the vocals, and it just kind of builds up, and it's a dance song. I'm not going to dance, but let's see if I bob my head. Drum is good, not defined. There's no presence, that's what I mean. No impact. The string instrument, I think it's a guitar, but the string instrument is clear. Vocals coming in now. Very gentle. Gentle meaning smooth. This male vocalist is very smooth. And right about now, everything's coming in. So there's a drum, there's a string instrument, and there's two vocalists, I think. At least I can only tell that there are two. Now, a lot of vocalists are coming in. When it's just him singing, it's very pleasant. It's very relaxing. With him, the drummer, the string instrument. If it's just those three, great. I could listen to the song all day long on this headphone. When there's multiple vocalists right now and all the instruments are playing, again, the sound stage or the stage, everything is even. No depth. Now there's a kind of a heartbeat, like there's a drum that comes in, and the vocalist. And again, when it's just the vocalist, it's very good, precise, smooth. When it's just the guitar, great. No sibilance. Also, no bass extension, meaning the drum is playing. I just don't feel an impact. Okay. At the end of the song, there's a guitar or a string instrument that kind of does this twang at the end, a twang. You can hear it. It's precise. It's not sibilant. It doesn't distort. Overall, I've heard it better in other headphones. It's smooth. It was precise when only one or two elements were in the song. When there's multiple elements in the song, nothing really stands out. Now maybe that's how these headphones are supposed to be designed. When there's a lot of stuff going on, and the whole breadth of the frequency range is being driven, then everything just kind of falls in line. You know, you get a flat response. And if that's what you're looking for, then yeah, you'll get it, but you're not going to be able to really fine-tune anything, right? You're not... If the vocals, drums, electric guitar, string instrument, they all come in at the same time, and you're trying to pay attention to how the voice sounds, it's going to come out muddy. That's how it's been consistently. Nothing is more emphasized than the other. And if that's what you're looking for, then yes, that's what you're getting. Not particularly fun, not fun. It's just there. Flight from the City. Now, Flight from the City, it's a brilliant, breathtaking song. The piano is heart-wrenching. Let's see how the piano does. It's very precise. No distortion in the piano at all. So the piano can get a little sibilant in other headphones. So for example, the HD600, it gets a little sibilant for me. The T60RPs gets a little sibilant. On this, it's well controlled. Smooth. When the pianist hits the key, I can hear it. I can hear him pressing down on the key and the key hitting the bottom of the board. I can hear that thud. I hear that impact of the key. Which I hadn't heard before in a lot of other headphones, including the Nighthawk. There was a creaking in the background, like somebody was walking on creaky floorboards, and I had never heard that before in any of my other headphones. And I don't think it's my chair. So what I hear is it's almost like the pianist is sitting on this bench, and he's playing this guitar. He's playing this piano, and it's a well-used piano. And every time he shifts his weight to just hunch his shoulders and start pressing down on the keys, every once in a while you hear a creaking, and you hear the thud of the keys, and that's all part of the joy and the beauty of this song. It's not just the song itself, not just the music, but it's the weight of the music, the pianist himself, rocking back and forth, creating these sounds on the bench every once in a while, it gives so much presence to the song, like you're sitting there and watching and listening. I think that's a violin, and well controlled. It could have been sibilant, but it's just smooth. In other headphones, the piano keys reverberate longer. The reverberation dies faster on the DT1770, than on the Nighthawk, than on any of the LCDs. And also on the Sony MDR Z7s have longer reverberation on the piano keys, on the piano strikes, than the 1770s. Okay, so I'm going to stop because we're almost 5 minutes in. There's still 2.5 minutes, a minute and a half to go. This is the best song so far on this pair of headphones. It's really easy for this song to fall apart on headphones that simply can't control the higher frequency. The 1770s so far have been amongst the top, I would say, top 5 headphones that I have that reproduce this song in the most pleasurable, most precise way. The Sendis do a good job, but they get a little bit too sibilant. The TH900s, it gets too sibilant for me. The LCD2Cs, the classics, they do an excellent job. The 2 closed also do a very, very good job. The HD600s do a decent job. I would say that the 1770s do a much better job reproducing this song than the HD600, the 650s, 650s. Okay, I don't want to keep going because we're already an hour in, but I do want to end with the drum solo. This is Jack Bruce, Simon Phillips. It's 2 minutes and 29 seconds. And this is, let's just see how the drums do, okay? Oh, yeah. So what he's doing is he's playing his drums, all of them, and he's going down the line playing the drums. And you can hear that in the headphones. Left to right to center, to left to right to center, to right to left to center. It just left to right, and it feels so good. It's like you're sitting right there hearing it. Okay, so just the drum solo, nothing else. It comes out, this is the best bass I've heard on this headphone so far. Precise, accurate, not sibilant. I mean, hard to get drum solo sibilant, but he's hitting the cymbals. The cymbals don't take anything away from the drum hits. Wow. So he's hitting different parts of his drum set and I can hear where each one is. All right, so I'm glad that I did that because it demonstrates to me that this headphone is in fact capable of giving you soundstage. It is in fact capable of giving you left, right, back, and forth with one instrument. Okay, so with the drum set, that's the only thing that's going. There are people in the background that are screaming, that are yelling, fine. But the drum comes out precise, accurate. There's depth to it. There's sound stage to it, so I know it's left or right or center. None of the other songs that I played today, when they have more than 1, 2, or 3 instruments, including vocalists, none of them are able to do that because it just gets lost in the complexity of the song. This is as simple as I can find one. Just one instrument playing. And that one instrument can go left to center to right. And you can play left and right at the same time, but not play the center. You understand? You've all seen drum sets. And when that's happening, like in this drum solo, this headphone shines. It was a pleasure listening to this song on this pair of headphones. But again, not a whole lot of bass impact. You don't feel the drum reverberating in your ear. You hear it, and you know it's there, and you know that an impact has happened on the drum set. But there's not much reverberation, and it doesn't hit you like, for example, the TH900 will just hit you on this song. The ZMF Atticus will hit you on this song. That's the other thing I can do is, if I go to drum solo, Take 5 by the Dave Brubeck Quartet. Now this, there's a saxophone. Let's see if it gets sibilant. Again, piano sounds so good on this headphone. And I know it's on the right. The drum is on the left. The saxophone is dead center. Maybe this isn't a saxophone. You know what? It's not a saxophone. I keep calling it a saxophone. It's not a saxophone. It's a wind instrument of some sort. I don't know what it is. And it's not sibilant. It gets so very close to being sibilant, but it's not sibilant. It's been sibilant on the Ascendies. It's been sibilant on the TH900s. It's been muddy on the Nighthawk. It just comes out pretty precise on the 1770s. I should really find out what this instrument is. But, okay, so that's it. I can't, I think I've had plenty of songs to go through. I've done at least as many as I did with the Nighthawk, and my conclusion is that this pair of headphones is very good if you have 2 or 3 instruments. It's able to separate those instruments. It's able to define and give you details on those instruments. It's excellent. This headphone is excellent keeping the higher frequencies in control. I am really, really surprised at how good this headphone is at that. And if you have a playlist that has instruments that peak in the higher register, this is the headphone you should wear. Because you're not taking anything away from the pleasure of those higher frequency instruments. You're just making sure that it's cut off before it starts piercing your ears. That's how I feel about this. The 1770s are very, very good at keeping things within a particular range. It doesn't go low into the bass. The bass is there. There's a feeling that there's supposed to be an impact to the bass, to the drums. There's just not real bass. There's not real impact. These are not bass head headphones. If anybody says this has phenomenal bass, they're lying. It doesn't have phenomenal bass. If anybody says that these are warm-sounding headphones, they're not warm-sounding headphones. They're relatively neutral. Everything comes up. The bass is flat. So there are headphones like the D2000s, the Den D2000s, where the bass is just, it gets low and rumbly. Or with the TH900s, where it just hits you hard and right in your head, like you got sucker punched in the face. But with the DT1770s, you heard the bass about a mile away, and it's there. That's the type of feeling that I get. That's the range. You know a bass is there, whatever frequency that happens to be. And you know that the higher frequency is not going to pierce your ears. That's good. The problem is that when you have a lot of instruments and all the frequencies that it can, in fact, display are going at the same time, this headphone is not particularly good at detail. If you have one vocalist and you're just listening to the vocalist, this headphone is great. When you have a vocalist and say a guitar, great. Bring in a piano, very good. Bring in a drum, now things start getting a little iffy. Now bring in a second vocalist, okay, well, this headphone starts falling apart. You see what I mean? The more complex the song becomes, the harder it is for this pair of headphones to separate all the particular instruments and vocalists. And things get muddy. Many of the songs that I played have electronic elements into it. I get that. For example, I'm a Dreamer by Charlie XCX. There's some electronic voodoo going on in that song. I understand. But you should still be able to differentiate the other instruments that are being played. In Scherzo for X-Wings, there's no electronic mumbo-jumbo. It's just orchestral. And yet it's still not particularly defined. If you plan on using these pair of headphones for mastering complex songs or listening to complex songs, you won't be disappointed necessarily if all you want to do is just sit there and listen. But if you are trying to find details in the song, and it's a complex song, you will be disappointed because you can't get the details. And it's abundantly clear you can't get the details when you listen to a song that has minimal complexity, say 2 vocalists and 2 instruments, or 3 instruments, or just 3 instruments and no vocalists, versus a much more complicated song like Angel or Heartbreak or Dreamer or Mountains. When there's a lot going on, yeah, you can tell immediately that this headphone can't really cut it. Not that it's a bad headphone. It simply just doesn't do what it's marketed to do. That's what I hear. All right, so that's the sound test. Somebody, one of my subscribers who comments often on my videos, and I appreciate that, said that I should have done another sound leak test after putting the pads on properly. Okay, well, I dispute that I didn't put the pads on properly the first time, since I couldn't put them on because it was so difficult. But regardless, I was about 6 inches away from the microphone the entire listening session here. So that was my sound leak test. If you heard it, then I was 6 inches away from the microphone the entire time for the past hour. And if you heard it, then there's sound leak. I may or may not do another sound leak test. I don't know. I'll see. But as of right now, this is it. I'm going to keep listening to these headphones. I'm going to now listen to these and then compare them to other headphones in the same price category. And then I'm going to come back with a final conclusion in about 2 to 3 weeks. Once again, if you are interested in getting these headphones from me at the end of my review period, let me know. You've seen the videos, you've seen the unboxing, you know exactly what's going to come with the headphones. And I will sell them to you at the end if you still want them. If you don't, then I'll just hold on to them and then I'll sell them on eBay or Amazon or something. Thank you very much. Hopefully this has been of some help. If you have any suggestions on how to make this more useful, please let me know in the comments below. I appreciate positive comments. I appreciate constructive comments. I do not appreciate people being just mean for the sake of being mean. Not that there's only one person who's done that, and I blocked him because it's not necessary, and I'm not going to waste my time having those people comment. I'm not going to waste anybody else's time having to read that nonsense. So if you want to participate and try to make this channel better, if you want me to do something that would enhance your ability to review or judge a particular headphone before you buy it, let me know. If I have the ability to do it and if it's reasonable, I will absolutely put all the effort I can into getting that done as quickly as possible. Thank you once again. Thank you for subscribing. If you have, if you haven't, okay, well, maybe you will think about subscribing in the future if you found my content appealing. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful night.